Hello everyone, my name is Anthony Wilson. Welcome back to Magic Talk. Today we're going to be talking about the States metagame, what it could possibly look like, some of the decks you could probably be running into. And to do this, I'm going to go over some of the old decks pre-rotation and talk about what they could look like post-rotation, what could be contenders at your local States event. So let's get started. First we're going to look at Mono Black Vampires. This is a deck that I think a lot of people forgot about, but I still think is really good. All it's really losing here in the main deck is Nocturnus, but easily replaced by 4 Captivating Vampires. We see here this guy was already running 2 in the main deck. It looks like he dropped Vampire Lacerator out of the mains to make room for Captivating Vampire and main deck Malekith Bloodwitch. So this could jump up to 4 of. And minus this, you could go back to running Lacerators maybe, or even Bloodthrown Vampire, so you have this cool interaction between Bloodghast, Bloodthrown Vampire, and Cluster Highborn, where you sack the Bloodghast, pay 2, so they lose 2, you gain 2, play a fetch land, bring back Bloodghast, do it again, fetch, bring back Bloodghast, do it again. So seems like really good synergy there. We could possibly see it in competitive play, and probably going to be there at States, so that's something to look out for. And also, Vampires running Hexmage, which is one of the few good ways that we still have to deal with Planeswalkers. So definitely a plus for Vampires there. In the sideboard, it looks like all this sideboard right here is losing his Mind Shatter, but that's easily replaced with Mind Sludge. So keep an eye out for this deck. I'm willing to bet that you're probably going to see this at States in some form or another. Here's another deck that is growing in popularity, Eldrazi Ramp. The idea is to summoners trapped into big dudes like Ulamog, Primeval Titan, Kozilek, and Emrakul at the end of your opponent's turn. I still can't think of any good instant spells that actually deal with Emrakul. So if this guy lands at the end of your opponent's turn off a summoning trap, you're probably going to win, because it seems really good with that Annihilator 6. I don't see this main deck changing a lot. It looks like, as far as this guy's deck went, everything is post-rotation, so probably still a good bet there. Sideboard looks like he's going to be losing Pithing Needle and Relic. I'm not sure what could replace this. Maybe we could go to a Black Splash and play Memoricide, or Suffer the Past, or maybe Bajuka Bog to help deal with graveyard recursion like Vengevine and Bloodghast. So I don't know, there's a couple different possibilities there. Here's a deck that we all see constantly, I'm sure. White Weenie, Mono White Aggro, as some people call it. This build here looks like it's only losing 2 key cards. They're kind of important, though. Knight of the White Orchid and Elspeth Knight Errant. Elspeth, I believe, can be replaced with Johnny Goldbane, which I think is still really good in the Mono White deck. Obviously not as good as Elspeth, but still pretty good. The ability to give your creatures +1/+1 counters and vigilance until the end of turn seems really good to me, and possibly make his way back into this deck. Knight of the White Orchid, I'm not sure what could replace that, but a good creature I think for this deck could be Sunblast Angel. I don't know if you'll see it in the main deck or not, but being able to untap and on your main phase play Sunblast Angel and kill your opponent's board and swing back for the win after activating a Johnny and putting +1/+1 counters on everyone and giving them vigilance. So, seems good to me. In the sideboard here, it looks like all they're losing is Oblivion Ring, but I guess that could be replaced with Journey to Nowhere. I know not as good as it only hits creatures, but still a possibility. Another card a friend of mine has been all going crazy about lately is True Conviction, where they get Double Strike and Lifelink. So that could be a possibility in this deck as well. But definitely, I can almost guarantee you'll see this deck at States. It's very cheap to build. So many variations of it. Everybody has their own idea of what this deck should look like. So definitely keep this in mind when you're building your decks and preparing your sideboard for States, that you're probably going to run into this. Here's one of my favorite decks. Red deck wins, Mono Red Aggro, whatever you want to call it. Still a great deck. Losing some big hitters like Ball Lightning, Hell's Thunder, and Hellspark Elemental, though. But this build here looks like it's already been prepped for post-rotation, replacing the big hitters with makeshift dudes like Kiln Fiend and Plated Geopede, which get big through other means. Plated Geopede, obviously, with all these fetch lands and whatnot, activating his landfall ability multiple times is pretty good. And Kiln Fiend with stuff like Searing Blaze and Stagger Shock seems really good. And here's 4 spells that I've noticed about Red Deck. Arc Trail, Forked Bolt, Stagger Shock, and Searing Blaze are all 2-for-1s, 3 of which can kill up to 2 creatures with a single spell. Seems really good considering you're trying to clear the way for Kiln Fiend and Plated Geopede. So keep those in mind if you plan on building this deck. That Arc Trail, Forked Bolt, and Stagger Shock all can kill up to 2 creatures and get them out of the way so you can get your gigantic Kiln Fiend in there. So it seems really good. As far as the sideboard, it looks like all he's losing is Mana Barbs there. It looks like this had a weird white splash too for Journey to Nowhere. But Dragon Claw is definitely good if you're building this deck for the mirror match. Good to have Dragon Claws in there. But this is probably what the deck will look like. This is something pretty similar to what I'm testing right now for states. Not sure if I want to run it or not, but it's a lot of fun and very quick and kills very, very fast. So be prepared to play against this as well at states. You're probably going to see this. There's going to be somebody there running it. Like I said, it's very cheap to build. Ember Haulers, Kiln Fiends. This is all commons and uncommons. Goblin Guide being the only rare here, and kind of an expensive mana base with a couple fetch lands. So all in all, it's fairly cheap to build. So you're probably going to run into some form of this at states. Now here's a deck I don't know a lot about. I've never actually played against it, but I hear a lot of people talking about it. Destructive Force, trying to ramp into big dudes like Primeval Titan and Inferno Titan, and then playing Destructive Force because these guys survive that. Clear the board and destroy your opponent's lands and pretty much paralyze him for the rest of the game. It seems like a really good deck to me, and it definitely seems like it could be a competitor at states. So you could possibly see somebody running this. Not sure exactly how to beat it or how to stop it or how to make it better if you're playing it. Looks like in the sideboard it's going to be losing Gather Specimens. I honestly wouldn't even know what to replace that with, but this is something I plan on seeing at states because it seems like it seems really good. Trying to figure out how to stop it is what I've been doing lately. So if you have any ideas, please, I'd love to hear them about this deck. If you have any input about this deck, let me know if you've been playtesting it or whatever, or playtesting against it, if you know how to beat it, if you know how to play it. Definitely leave your feedback on this deck. Some other decks that I didn't go over that we could possibly see: Blue-White Control with the new Venser. I know the Venser lock combo is pretty insane. I don't know if you know this, but they play Silence. They silence you on your upkeep. Play Mnemonic Wall, whatever it's called. It brings silence back to your hand. That's what I know it does. And then they silence you again, and then they use Venser to blink the wall out and back in, then they silence you again. So there's pretty much like a soft lock there. It's really good. Other decks, maybe Infect and Proliferate type decks where they put counters on you or poison counters on you and proliferate. It's an idea. Or just Infect Aggro, which I know a lot of people out there are experimenting with. It's really good in my opinion. I've heard talk about some kind of Mer tribal deck. I know a lot of people experimenting with that around here. A lot of people trying to get their Mer together and build some kind of tribal deck around them. Or maybe just artifacts in general. That could be possibly be a deck where you just have some kind of artifact control maybe, or artifact aggro. I don't know. So if you have anything you're running that you think is interesting, or anything you've noticed, please, we'd love to hear it. Leave it in the comments down below. If you are playtesting some awesome deck and you would like to show it off, leave it in a video response, and maybe we could bounce ideas off each other and help each other figure out what's going to be played at states where you live. So, as always, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.